Hi everybody, my name is Lindsay. Welcome back to my bookish and writing channel. So my life has entered a very busy season, and during busy seasons of life, I enjoy reading more comics and manga. So today I wanted to share the comics that I've read recently. 3 of them are DC superhero comics, obviously, and one of them is an Image comic book, and I am so excited to share all of them today. Links to content warnings are in the description, and without further ado, I'm going to start with the Image comic book. So the Image comics book that I am excited to talk about today is Twig by Skottie Young and Kyle Strahm. This book was recommended on the YouTube channel That's Comical, which I'll leave down in the description. I heard about it on their Best Comics of 2022 video, and more than one person had this book on their list, so I had to check it out. This story follows an adorable creature named Twig, whose father used to be a placeling, and in this story the job of a placeling is to place an object of significant importance in the correct place for the story's hero to find. And this job requires facing a lot of grave dangers, just as much, if not more, that the hero of the story faces. It is now Twig's turn to become a placeling, and the story follows his first task. However, because everything seems to be going wrong on his first day, his first task may end up being his last, and the world as he knows it may soon come to an end. A lot of reviews and discussions I've seen surrounding this comic compare the creativity of it to Jim Henson's, and I would definitely agree with that. The setting and the character designs are so imaginative and so colorful. Everywhere Twig goes, and Twig goes to many places in this story, is a completely new setting. It's like a completely new world, and it made the story so much more interesting to me because I had no idea what to expect next. I also really enjoyed reading a hero's journey story about a hero behind the scenes. I also love Twig as a character. I love how he perseveres always and stays true to himself and makes choices that make sense to him even if they differ from the instructions that he was given to complete his first task. I really enjoyed Twig. My fiance also read Twig and really enjoyed it as well, and we both highly recommend it. The next book I am excited to share with you all is the first of 3 DC superhero comic books that I've read recently, and that is Robin and Batman by Jeff Lemire and Dustin Nguyen. This was also another comic book recommended on the That's Comical YouTube channel. This book is essentially another take on Robin's origin story, but it's so much more than that. Told from Dick Grayson, the original Robin's perspective, we follow him at 12 years old shortly after he's taken under Batman's wing, and he's trying to figure out who he is. Is he the type of superhero who runs from the darkness or embraces it? Meanwhile, we're also watching Batman, Bruce Wayne, figure out who he is now that he has a partner in training and adopted son, and which role is more important to Bruce/Batman. Is it being a mentor to Robin, who is risking his life? Or is it being a father figure to Dick Grayson, who needs a family? I thought the writing and the rhetoric in this comic was very clever, and I also really liked the message of what Robin stands for. The story is also very touching, and the art is incredible. I'm not sure if the art is actual watercolors, but it reminded me of watercolors at least, which is really unique to see in a superhero comic. I'll have to look that up, what kind of technique was used. And I loved how all of the dark colors used throughout the comic brings out Robin's bright costume even more. I definitely recommend this comic. The next comic probably won't be a surprise to you because I just read a story about Robin, and the next story I read is called Robins. Dick Grayson/Robin/Nightwing is one of my favorite superheroes, obviously. So, of course, I read another Robins comic. Let's talk about it. Robins Being Robin by Tim Seeley, Valdemar Rivas, and Romulo Fajardo Jr. So this story follows all of the Robins, past and present, and at the beginning of the story, they are all seemingly meeting by chance to fight the same villain, and after they fight off the villain, they all get together at Dick Grayson's apartment to discuss their experiences being Batman's sidekick, and whether or not, in each of their opinion, if it was a good idea. I thought that the setup and execution of this story was done so well. In this story, we have all 5 Robins meeting. We have Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, Tim Drake, Stephanie Brown, and Damian Wayne. And for the most part of this story, all 5 characters are all together, and I really enjoyed seeing them all interact with each other, all of their different personalities and takes on life and takes on being Robin, and how they all discussed each of their individual experiences being Robin, as well as their Basically, they're Robin origin stories. By the end of the comic, there is not a clear answer to Dick Grayson's question of, was being Robin a good idea? Which I really appreciated that it was kind of left open-ended in that way. And I also really liked the small but meaningful moments between the Batman and the Robins in this story. There was also a lot more action in it than I was expecting. I was expecting kind of a roundtable discussion with flashbacks throughout. But that's just the beginning of this story. There's a lot more going on than I thought there would be, and I really liked the adventure. I'm not sure if it's likely that it'll happen, but after reading this story, I would absolutely love to read another take on all of the Robins getting together and hanging out. I just had so much fun seeing all of them just hang out together and interact, and I just want to see it again. It was really fun to see all of the Robins in one place. And last but not least of the DC comics that I read recently was Tales of the New Teen Titans #4, Starfire, who is my favorite Teen Titan of all, and this is by Marv Wolfman and George Perez. So a bit of context, I mentioned it before, how I'm a big fan of the 2003 Teen Titans show, and it was my favorite show as a teenager. It's still one of my favorite shows. And when I was a teenager, I was curious about what inspired the TV show, so I started reading the new Teen Titans comics. I haven't read a lot of them, but I've read a lot of the main stories that inspired the season arcs. And now I'm kind of reading individual issues here and there that look like fun, and I picked this up because, as I said, Starfire is my favorite Teen Titan of all. And I was curious about her origin story in the comics. We never got a season arc for her, and I'm still mad about it. We got a season arc for every main Teen Titan, even Tara, who shows up for one season. We never got a season arc for Starfire, and I was fully expecting it and fully on board for it for season 6, but season 6 never happened. Rant over. Anyway, I went to the comics for her origin story. So back to the main source, the comics. So in this issue, we learn a lot about Tamaran, its culture, and its climate. This is where Starfire is originally from. And we learn a lot about her family, especially her relationship with her older sister, Blackfire in the cartoon, Commander in the comics. And the entire issue is mainly focused on Starfire and her older sister, and her older sister hated her since birth because her older sister was instantly jealous of her. This is not a happy story by any means because Starfire's older sister, Commander, is very terrible to Starfire and her family and basically everybody but herself. And I get the feeling that this issue is just a snippet of Starfire's essentially very tragic backstory. But I would also say that this issue ends hopefully because it also shows how resilient and powerful Starfire is, both in mind and strength. In the very first panel before the flashback, before she tells all of the Titans her story, she is flying, she is soaking up the rays of the sun, she's just enjoying her day. Despite everything that happened to her, Starfire chooses to live in the present and to deeply appreciate all of the good things in her life. Because this issue deals with some heavy topics, I would recommend looking at the content warnings before reading it if you think that that's best. But to conclude, even though it was hard to read at times, I'm really glad that I finally read this. Starfire is, like I said 2 or 3 times by now, my favorite. I'm so glad I got to learn more about her. So those are all the comics that I read recently. What am I going to read next? Well, I have some Spider-Man comics on my TBR. I have some more Batman and Teen Titans related comics on my TBR, to no one's surprise. And to definitely no one's surprise, the next comic on my TBR is called Robin. This is the 4th graphic novel in Kami Garcia and Gabriel Piccolo's Teen Titans series. I am enjoying it thoroughly. I've read the first 3, which are Raven, Beast Boy, and Beast Boy Loves Raven, and Robin is the 4th graphic novel in the series. I'm a major fan of this series for so many reasons. I love the Teen Titans, I love the story, but one of the things that makes my heart so happy is that the character designs that Gabriel Piccolo came up with are directly inspired by the 2003 cartoon of Teen Titans. Robin was my most anticipated book of the year, and I haven't read it yet only because I am looking for the perfect afternoon to sit down and read it in its entirety. I'm hoping to have a review of it up within the next month or so. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. In the comments, please let me know if you've read any of the comics that I've read or what comics you're reading at the moment. And if you'd like to leave an emoji in the comments for fun or to just let me know that you're here, please leave me, I don't know, a bat emoji. I checked and I don't think there is a Robin emoji, so we're gonna use the bat instead. Alright, I'll see you all again soon with another new video. Bye everybody!